Well, Gus, James, welcome to the pod, bro.
James, it's good to see you.
James, yeah, man. I haven't seen you in years.
Been forever.
It's so good to see you. It's like nothing's changed, though. You're still as cute as I remember.
You're cute,
Thank you. I know. Thank you.
but changed. Like you're married now.
That's true.
And I'm married now.
Look at us, huh?
Probably both put on some poundage.
Oh, dude, I definitely have, bro.
I wasn't gonna say anything, but I have too, though.
I know. No, dude, when I like revisited like some of my islands from my mission on, when I got married, everyone's like, "The Cheshire, you got fat, man."
Yeah, they're blunt, dude.
You got fat, man. I'm like, bro, I know.
No, they call you fat, and in Brazil they're like, "You're still fat, man."
Still fat, man.
Except in Portuguese.
I heard, yeah, they're like brutal. What's his name? That our teacher in high school. So Gus and I went to high school. James, Gus, you still go by both.
Yeah, I mean, my wife calls me James. But most people know me as Gus.
Okay, but one of our teachers in high school said he went to Brazil and everyone was like way brutally honest there. So.
Yeah, it's pretty. It's like that, dude. But the people are awesome. I love it. I miss it. I would totally go back there and work there.
Really?
I mean, their current political situation is a little crazy. It's as divided as it is here, but a lot of, I'm not like the most hard right conservative guy, but it's very like left leaning in the socialistic type of programs that I just don't think work. Yeah, so right now there's this guy named Lula. He's their guy, and he originally couldn't. It's like he got convicted of felony, then he got kicked out, and then now he's back in. He won the presidency, and he's putting people in prison. Which, say what you want. I'm not saying who's right or who's wrong. It's not good for business. But I love the people, and the most thing I love there is soccer, obviously. Like,
Of course.
futebol, jogo bonito, eu amo. I love it. I love that aspect of the culture there.
Okay, great, dude. So when you served your mission for the church, it was in Brazil and where else?
So yeah, I didn't have my visa at the start, so I started in the Colorado Denver North Mission, which is awesome. I was just reminiscing about it because this is around the time I was there. It was the first time I think the church had the Light the World machines. So I got to play piano in downtown Denver and sing.
Like the vending machines
Yeah.
for donating stuff?
Yep, the red vending machines, Light the World. Patrick Mahomes did a commercial with it.
I've seen that. And Travis go, "What's better than a Super Bowl ring? What's better than 2 Super Bowl rings?" Yeah.
Gus playing the piano, talking about Light the World. That's what's better. But yeah, so I started my mission there during the Light the World stuff. And then I got my visa finally around like probably 2 weeks before Christmas. And I went to Brazil. I served there for like 7 or 8 months. And that's when COVID happened.
Oh, yeah.
So they went to like military mode, straight martial law. Seriously, if more
Brazil?
Yeah, if you would walk out, they would shoot shots in the air. Like get back in.
Dang, bro.
And so, yep, escaped like a movie that the church would make, hopefully. Just joking. But I know we really did escape. We were like the last people on the Sao Paulo airport in Guarulhos and made it back. I was like, well, this is awesome. What do I do now? And I was here for about a month and a half, and it was just crazy. I just didn't know. I don't know. If you've ever served a mission or anything, like you feel like you're being led by God, and you know that you're being led by God. And all of a sudden, when I'd come back, it was like the heavens were just like shut for me. I'd like pray and meditate. It was just nothing. And I remember everyone telling me like, "Oh, like dude, you're good. Like you don't have to go back out." I'm like, "Yeah, probably." And so I started like feeding in like, "Yeah, I don't have to go back out." And then finally, I remember, but I like felt so bad about that. And then finally one day, I'm like just driving. And I just remember feeling a feeling that just said, I didn't call them, I called you. So go back out on your mission. And so I'm like, okay. I called my stake president, and he's like, well, yeah, we don't really know if you can get me out. Or we don't know if we can get you out anytime soon. Like it's random.
Yeah.
And then I said, well, if you don't get me out in the next 2 weeks, I'm not going back out. The next day I got a call to Oregon. I got reassigned to Oregon.
What part of Oregon?
Eugene, the Oregon Eugene mission.
Dope, dude.
Which was awesome. It's so beautiful there. I love it. But I was there during the George Floyd riots. And so people were like shaking our car and everything. It was crazy. And it was during the fires. Like if you remember the 2020 Ashland fires.
I don't know about that.
So it burned down like the majority portion of Oregon. And like passports were being burned. We were like helping kitties down trees and giving people water and, you know, just being like firemen and superheroes. Dude. And so it was literally the craziest mission. And then I got sent to Newport, Oregon, which is so beautiful.
It's like closer to the beach, I assume.
Yeah. So you go through Corvallis, which is where Oregon State is. Okay. And there's this little canyon that you take to go to Newport. And in between the mountains, you just see the ocean. And it's so beautiful. I'm like, man, I'm going to finish my mission here. This is awesome. And then I got a call from my mission president that said, hey, you need to pack your bags. You're going back to Brazil.
Oh.
And so I'm like, yeah, exactly. I'm like, oh, nice. Wow, yeah. Okay. Who made that choice?
That coming, huh?
Yeah. And so then I went back to Brazil, finished my mission there, came back, and it's just been awesome ever since. Been doing school and sales. So I did sales before my mission, did my mission, went back to doing door-to-door sales, except for solar.
Did you do, okay, solar. That's like
so before I did Vivint, and then before that I did Pest.
Vivint, like home security?
Yeah.
And then you did Pest?
Before that.
Okay, so Pest, and then home security, and then solar, and now...
Yeah, now I'm doing B2B software sales.
Okay, there's a business. Nice, bro. Wow, okay. So out of all the 4 sales industries you've been in, what do you like the most?
Dude, I think it's just good for everything. Like, I think you need to... I mean, you don't need to, but starting in door-to-door sales is so... It's like steroids for sales. If you can make it, you'll be good because, like, it's a grind, dude, and it does. Oh, yeah. People are like, man, I love it. I want to make this. I'm like, that's awesome for you, dude. Like, congrats for you. I don't want to knock towards my whole life, but it's a good program 100%. To learn basically just the simple life cycle of the sale. Mm-hmm. Learn how to overcome objections, bring them up first. Learning the classic tie downs. You know, to go back and really solidify the deal. And so it really was just like a glimpse into what any decision-making moment in your life is going to be. And I'm not trying to be like, saying like, man, door-to-door sales, you know, it's going to teach you how to get a girlfriend and a wife. Yeah. And no, I mean, but it does teach you skills that if you learn will apply. And especially when you go to B2B sales. Now, it does take a little bit longer, so it's not like I'm out there slinging 10 deals a day. And sometimes that transition's hard because if no one told you, especially my unique circumstances, I went to a startup. And so that's been just full of...
Very different.
Yeah, full of different growing pains and everything. And you wear multiple hats. But I think bottom line for me, what I like about sales is that you're going there to solve a problem. And so you look at any industry and you find the fastest growing industries. It's the ones with the most problems. And so that's why they require the most solutions. And so if you can go and you can prescribe that like a sales doctor, right? Then I think it's there's just no other profession like it. And sales is something that you can do anywhere. Now you might need to get certified in certain ways, but at the end of the day, sales is sales, and you could go to school for it, but you don't have to, right? Yeah. I could go right now start a landscaping business, and if I wanted to be the best, you'd have to have good sales. Yeah. And so I'm so grateful, but for all of them, I mean, door-to-door really teaches you the basics. And then when you go to B2B, but in my unique circumstance in a startup, I saw, like, not just the sales aspects, but also the customer management portion of things. You know, what CRM are we going to use?
Yeah.
And it's been cool kind of leading them down that path and saying, okay, how are we going to do outreach? How are we going to keep the customers we have? Like, we don't, like, when I started there, we didn't have anybody who was, like, a customer management person after I'd sold the deal. So it was me. And so that was like hard because I was like running 3 jobs where in like a regular place that's 3 different salary positions.
100%. Oh yeah.
And so that's been super difficult to navigate, but it's been cool because now I understand, okay, before how am I setting up the deal, right? How am I closing it? And then how am I managing it after? I can see what archetype of people need to fill that position.
And that's huge, dude, because there's so many times where I don't know. If that's separate, then a lot of times the salesmen just like burn it and just like don't care about the other things.
Yeah. Well, it's like slinging mud against the wall. I'm like, man, I hope it sticks.
Yeah.
Which I used to be like that. When I did solar, I was like that.
Yeah. Sometimes like, the numbers just like, oh, this guy probably is not interested in getting canceled, but you never know. Might as well just throw it up. Yeah. And then I get what you're saying. Very cool, bro. So you had a lot going on the last few years. This is the people of Utah, right? So where are you from originally, and why are you here in Utah?
Yeah, so I grew up in Alberta, Utah, which is literally in the middle of nowhere.
Alberta.
Yeah, so if you've heard of Goshen, that's where like the church claims their Jerusalem set is, like their fake Jerusalem, where they film all the church movies. But it's actually in Alberta, and that's where I'm from. And if you drive out there in the middle of nowhere, you'll see a giant green screen in the desert. That's like the clouds behind Jesus when he's being like crucified in the video. Not to be sacrilegious that's where it was. That's where it was filmed. They didn't go to. Sorry to break it to you. They didn't go to Jerusalem. And so, but I grew up around there, and I went to a small town school in Goshen. Then in 2nd grade, I was expelled. So then I went to charter school.
Wait. What were you expelled for in 2nd grade? What could you possibly have done?
I punched a kid in the face at the bus stop.
Tough. I never knew that, dude.
Yeah, dude. Not many people do, but now it's here in the open. I repented, obviously, and went to C.S. Lewis Academy, in which I was enriched with the teachings of C.S. Lewis. Read all the C.S. Lewis books, and then at 5th grade, I got expelled again. Not expelled, I got suspended, but it was like a stupid reason. No, 6th grade. And that's when I transferred to ALA.
Okay, so 2nd grade you're expelled, and then you read all of C.S. Lewis literature between 3rd and 6th grade.
Yeah, so that was like the school's thing. Like every grade had a different book.
Okay,
and so I read The Magician's Nephew, Lion, Witch, and the Wardrobe, all of them.
What the heck? That's actually crazy. Okay.
Well, it's important because it later led to my like philosophy of life, right? To becoming like a true Christian, like saint.
Keep cooking. Okay, keep going.
Right, so that's like, because I ended up going off the straight and narrow for a little bit and doing my own thing. But it was those C.S. Lewis books that I eventually,
Okay.
Like, don't be an atheist, idiot. Like, telling me, right? The books told me that. Now, if you're an atheist, whatever. Repent. But yeah, so I started there. Then in 6th grade, I just had some trouble again with the law of the land there.
The law of the land, bro?
Yeah, one of the counselors is just horrible to little kids.
At C.S. Lewis?
Yeah, and so I remember one time I, led a revolt. I was
led a revolt.
Like a leader there, and I got in huge trouble. And my mom was like, "All right, you're done here. You're going to ALA." And I was like, "No."
Brutal.
So yeah.
How far away is ALA from Alberta?
30 minutes, dude. Back in the day, it was 30 minutes. So yeah, I drive 30 minutes every day to go to school, and I started there in 7th grade, which is also when I started really singing and dancing, and playing soccer. So those were like the 2 big things that I started doing a lot. When I transferred that school. So I was
choir and soccer.
Yeah. Okay. And those were like my main things growing up. Went to high school at ALA. Ended up playing 3 sports. So my main sports when I was a senior was I played football, I wrestled, and I played soccer. Okay. And dude, I mean, say what you want about football and soccer, like I played both of them, but the most brutal sport I ever played was wrestling.
Oh, for sure.
And it was hard. And it's another story I won't get into, but I got conned into it by the coach. Because I used to do the morning announcements as student body president.
Okay.
And
I know that. That's cool.
Yeah.
Like after I graduated.
Yeah.
Nice.
And so I was doing the morning announcements like, "What's up? It's Gus. Good morning, ALA, whatever, doing this thing." And my other co-president wasn't there. And so
who was your co-president?
It was Ethan Morley.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And so basically the wrestling coach ended up taking over, like for him to be in his position just for that day.
Okay.
And I lost a bet on air to go to wrestling practice. I'm like, all right, whatever, for the social media. Do it for the meme.
Yeah, do it for the Vine, whatever.
So whatever, yeah, I went to wrestling practice. I'm like, okay, that is horrible. I never want to do it again. It stinks. It smells horrible. It's just everything about it's horrible. And then at the end, he's like, all right, we're naming our captains. I'm like, oh, awesome. Good for him. And start walking out. He's like, and our captain is Gus Burton. I'm like, what the freak, dude? I've never wrestled in my life. And I told him, like, dude, if I lose my first match, I'm quitting. And he goes, okay, deal. But you have to practice hard until then. I'm like, okay. My match was in a week against the middle linebacker at East High School.
But wait, ALA is not that big of a school.
No, I know. It was an invitational.
ALA is 2A, and you're wrestling a 5A.
East is 5A,
team?
yeah. Well,
Brutal.
at the time it's 5A. Now they're 6A, I think.
Brutal.
Literally the Wildcats, where Troy Bolton went to high school.
Oh, yeah, East High. Yeah.
High School Musical. I went against their middle linebacker. And I'm like, I see it. It's this giant Polynesian guy. I'm like, dude. I was started crying. Started saying my Hail Marys and stuff. I'm like, bro, it's over. And I ended up winning 2-1 because he slapped me in the face. And so I got one more point, but we tied.
Rage bait.
Yeah.
Get a slap going.
And funny story, I ended up seeing him 3 years later at Dixie State. He played football there.
He recognized you?
And he spotted me. So shout out to him. But yeah, I ended up winning, so I couldn't quit. And so I finished out the season, ended up placing at state.
So why'd you stick with it? You ended up liking it?
No, dude, I hated every moment of it. but it was at that moment, it's after I tried quitting twice and it didn't work, because it's like you just have to kind of stick it. And yeah, like it was one of the best teams we've ever had. And I ended up placing at state, which for a person to never have wrestled before, in 3A where there's like Delta and Manti and all these good, cowboy kid schools, it's like, dude, that was pretty impressive. And so it was really hard. I remember getting wrecked by a kid from Juab in state. But that night was Sweethearts, and I couldn't miss it. So it was get wrecked and then go, which is pretty much the story of my senior year. And but sports, like especially wrestling, just nothing will ever be as bad as like getting clobbered by some 220-pound dude. And I just gotta look at it. Sometimes in life when it's hard, it's like at least I'm not there.
Underneath some guy on a mat,
who's sweating on me and just smells so bad, and you're like, and so that's helped me to put things in perspective. I always say this: if I never had wrestled, I would not have finished my mission, and I like stick to that.
Yeah.
If I would have never wrestled, I probably wouldn't have gone on the mission. I wouldn't have stuck it out in sales. I wouldn't be married. And I think the bottom line is if you do activities or extracurriculars that help you make and keep the promises that you make, like then that's where you become a person of integrity.
That's the big idea behind doing hard things and discipline, right? Is that you get hard things done early. You go work out in the morning and get your butt kicked. You say, okay, whatever else happens today is not going to be as bad as this. You know what I mean?
Yeah. When you say what you're going to do, and like when I think about it fundamentally, if there's a deity, what makes him a deity is that, or her, right? To all the feminists. What makes God God, though, truly, is that he keeps his word. And if he wasn't, he'd cease to be God. And so, to me, it's like if I'm trying to emulate deity, then I have to be a man of my word. And so if I say I'm going to wrestle, I'm going to wrestle. If I say I'm going to do these many sales, I'm going to do those many sales.
That's a great perspective. It's like a spiritual thing almost.
Yeah.
Like I committed to doing this. I got to follow through because it's like a spiritual thing.
Yeah.
That's cool. That's cool.
Because if I don't, then I'm not only letting like the people down, but I'm letting myself down in my eternal potential. And I don't think you really even have to be a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints to believe that. Like, you can say, no, I'm going to keep my word because that's who I am, right? And so when you say something's going to happen, it's going to happen. And that's only something that really 100% God can do. And so if you start, doing that in such a way where, man, even when it's a little bit risky, but you have faith in yourself and in your team, I think that's when you start breaking down all these walls and all these obstacles that arise in your life or in your relationships.
Wow, that's powerful, man. I love that. Okay, so you're from Alberta. What about your wife? What about Bryn?
Yeah, so I just got married. She's from St. George. So we met after my mission at Dixie State. We sang and danced on the same team. So important why I did, choir at ALA was because I ended up getting scholarships and singing at places. So
and it's not Dixie, by the way. It's Utah Tech, right?
Yeah, now it is. Yeah, no, it's a lot of people don't like the name change. They get pretty salty. I was actually at the Capitol when they were having the hearings.
Oh, you were there for the whole
and I wasn't debating against it. I actually was for it, but let me tell you why before everybody freaks out. Right, because everybody's like, man, Gus, that staunch conservative Mexican kid, like wants to deport his own kind. I'm like, no, I know. That's literally people say that. I'm like, dude, chill. No, I'm not.
Who says that? Who says that about
you? I have a lot of a lot of
haters,
left-leaning friends, and which is fine. I love them. Like I will never not love them. But they, so they were basically what happened was there was a ton of companies, like businesses, backing the name change for the degrees to come from a tech school, like technology.
Interesting.
And so they were actually getting a ton of money from businesses. I'm like, yeah, this is a business move for me.
Oh, I never knew that. Okay.
So like all their business programs, everything they're gonna get like $50 million and like tax cuts and grants and everything. I forget everything, but like at the time I was like, dude, this is just a business move. You'd be an idiot not to take it.
That's great context.
And so yeah, a lot of people don't know. Everyone's like, oh, it's racist and it hurts my feelings. I'm like, okay, that's whatever. On you. People can say whatever you want. It's freedom of speech.
Sure.
Who cares?
I didn't know about the whole if the name Tech is in the college.
There was I never knew that. Over in St. George they have one of the largest growing. So here we have like the Silicon Slope thing they're trying to do.
Silicon Slope, yeah.
But down there they have Tech Ridge, which is on the old Airport Hill in St. George, loaded with businesses. All of them wanted to invest money in the college, no brainer.
There you go.
And nobody knows that. I'm like, dude, at the end of the day, it's business. So sorry, business offends you.
That doesn't make the headlines though. The headlines is throwing the word racist out there.
Yeah, I mean, if you want views, you have to. I don't blame him. Like Trump said, like let him be mean, and then the Joe Rogan guy is like, they can call me whatever. But at the same token, that's that's what it is. And so I was there, and I went up in front of the Utah legislator, and I said, listen, at the end of the day, it's a business move. It's more money in the pocket of the students and a quality education there. So if that means that students are going to be graduating with business degrees and software engineering degrees and all this different stuff and have a job right out of high school in St. George. We still have to fix the housing crisis here in Utah, but that helps. That goes a long way.
Sure, yeah.
So
I didn't know that. Okay.
So yeah, I will never talk bad about Dixie State or Utah Tech. Like, it was such a great place for me.
Didn't you do like with that big man on campus type of thing?
Yeah.
I saw you. I think I saw it on social media.
That was forever. That was before Mission.
Oh, really? That was a long time ago.
Yeah, that was back when I was cool and fit, and now I'm fat and married. But no, it was fun, dude. There's so many activities there, and I will say this: when it comes to student activities and student involvement, there's no school that does it like Utah Tech. Like, when it comes down to it, if you're a freshman, you're like, man, like, especially if you're like, I've been active in the church. People say it's a party school. I'm like, dude, the institute there is awesome. Everyone's there is awesome. Like, you're not gonna go there and become inactive unless that's your whole plan. If you're gaming for that, you could go to BYU and become inactive. But when don't be afraid of that. It's a great stepping stone of a place. And it's also a good place to stay there. Like, if you're into accounting, they have a master's program for that. And so I love it. Now, if you're not interested in school and school's not for you, I would suggest don't go to any school. Go do a trade or something. But Utah Tech's awesome.
Love that, dude. You should be a total ambassador for them. What an alumni. What a great alumni,
I know.
dude.
If you hear this, guys, especially Vice President of Marketing, get back to me. I've been talking to you. No, they use our software, so we got a good relationship.
Oh, there you go. Okay. They're your customers. They're your clients, bro. Okay, tell me about your family. So, how'd they get here to Utah? Why are they in Utah?
Yeah, I'm a funny mix. So I'm mixed, right? I'm half Hispanic, I'm Mexican, half American. Yeah. My mom's from Mexico City, Mexico. Born in 1974. Nice. Literally just downtown Mexico City. She came here when she was 19 with the rest of her family. Her brothers had moved here and started businesses. And my dad actually grew up in OC, Orange County, California. He is white, though. So my dad ended up learning Spanish on his mission just throughout his life. And him and my mom, they did the single word route, found each other in a single word, respect. I probably couldn't do that, but good for them. And that's how it worked out. They ended up getting married, and I was a honeymoon baby, and I popped out, and I'm the oldest of 5. So
dang,
I have 5 awesome siblings. One of them's still in high school, but yeah, they're funny. They're all awesome.
I follow your little brother on Nathan, right?
Boozy?
Nate?
Yeah.
Boozy, yeah, dude. He's so funny on social media. I love seeing his stuff.
Man, that guy is, kind of just doing his own thing.
Dude, Nathan, awesome. I haven't even talked to you maybe 10 times in my life, bro, but I see your social media, and I think you're cool and hilarious, so.
Boozy?
Shout out.
Yeah.
Shout out, bro. I see you running. I see what's it called? You post the Strava results. You're fit.
No, he's actually getting big, dude. And so one of the reasons I started getting back into fitness and gym was so I could stay on top on my family. Because me and him both wrestled, and he also plays at state, but he hated it way more than I did, and I hated it pretty bad. But I see him getting ripped and stuff, and he's always been so athletic. I was born with horrible feet. That's another weird thing. I was born with backwards feet, cleft feet.
Yeah, you did get surgery when you were born, right?
Yeah. So, anyways, he's the upgraded version of me, and so he's white, right? So I'm tanner. He's got everything.
He's
going.
Light skinned. He wasn't born with messed up feet.
So just a total athlete.
It's a good thing Bryn met you before him, huh?
Yeah, no, for real. And they're the same age, so it's just lucky. But yeah, so I see him dude, I gotta put in the work, and he's getting huge. He's all into bodybuilding, and but yeah, no, I love my little siblings. Then I have a sister who's an amazing singer. She sang as well, and then my two youngest, who are just we like to joke around they're thing 1 and thing 2 or Dumb and Dumber, but they're awesome.
So switching gears a little bit, Gus, if you could go back in time and give yourself any advice, what would you say?
Yeah, I love that question because it's well, in what moment and what would I say, right? And I guess the only thing I really could say is to always look forward with a perfect brightness of hope. So that comes from the scriptures, right? But I think in just moments where it was really sad and everything, which there was a lot of, it's just to instill that Christian cardinal virtue of hope, right? And so obviously easier said than done, but when it's hard to have hope, that's when you should have the most of it. And that's with anything. So like people are like, man, like I'm charitable and I'm patient, but your true test of patience, hope, faith is when it's hard to have faith. So
totally.
And so, if I could say like, well, what are the things that develop hope, right? Well, maybe it's doing things that are hard. Maybe it's doing this. And I could honestly say like, if I was to go back, that would be maybe the only advice I'd give. Or if I was 8 years old, I'd say, hey, start investing in NVIDIA or something. But other than that, like my life is how it is. And there really is no regrets, right? No regrets. I mean, there's obviously stuff that I wish I would have done different, but with how I am now, the only advice I could say is really, have hope. What gives you hope? And then go do that thing. And so, I mean, that's sounds like a basic answer, but it's like, what else would you say?
Yeah. No, that's huge. I love that, man. That's great advice. What's your favorite and your least favorite thing about Utah?
Utah is so, like, geographically diverse. It is so beautiful, and people don't get it. Like, I've been all over the world. Utah's beautiful. You get a little bit of everything. Like, the only thing it's missing is the beach. But there's awesome lakes here. So, for me, it's such a beautiful place. Now, the worst thing probably would just be, I don't know, that's like nitpicky because compared to other places in the world, Utah's not bad. And I think the problems that you see in Utah are just problems that are found relatively across the United States, especially in the Rocky Mountain states. But the worst thing for me, and now people could say, it's the Latter-day Saint culture. And the Latter-day Saint culture is like just a few bad apples. Right, in my opinion, right, and that could be an unpopular take. People are like, Utah culture. I'm like, Utah culture makes people rich, like it's hardworking, and sure, you get every once in a while you get these spoiled brats out here, like with their Stanley cups and lip fillers and stuff or whatever, there's your Stanley cup.
I've got a Stanley right here,
and your lips a little bit more full. No judgment.
Yeah. I got a little.
but what I like for me, it's like that's not even the bad part. I mean, the bad part is I do think Utah as a state has been a little bit mismanaged, and so we haven't been able to keep up with the growth, which is hard. That makes it hard to start businesses, makes it hard to grow businesses if you can't find housing for people, and so that does suck. And so say what you want about culture, about this, about that, the church. I mean, sure. I mean, you can go anywhere and it's weird. I've lived in Louisiana. I've lived in North Carolina, in Missouri, and Tennessee. Every place has its own little quirks, and one of the quirks about Utah is the church. Sure. But when you have a rapidly growing community like Utah does, and the sewage in Linden is still trying to be figured out, and in Pleasant Grove, and the freeway's awful and horrible, and it's like these are problems that could have been solved if people would have just kind of like sacrificed a little bit more earlier, but now it's even harder to do. And so you have to do it in just smaller chunks. And so I think you'll see a lot of, especially in the next 10 years, a lot of growing pains, and that's going to be tough.
So for you, like your least favorite thing about Utah is just the population increase and all the...
Yeah, not even, I mean, I think population increase is awesome. But for me, the problem is the mismanagement.
Yeah.
So you have to
everything else not keeping up.
So you have to go through like a bunch of different stuff when I think it should be a lot more deregulated. And we like to think, or at least some people like to think, man, Utah's a red state and this and that, and there's a ton of regulations here, and that I don't even necessarily agree with. And so I think to deregulate would kind of help with that. I'm not saying go and burn down a forest, right? I'm not saying go and put tar all over the Uintas. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying, like, let's deregulate a few things so we can have faster construction and not have all these weird grants and stuff where we're just throwing money at problems. And it's almost like this prosperity thing. And I guess at the bottom, at the end of the day, it's like they have like this prosperity gospel mindset. Some people do. Mm-hmm. That kind of ruins it for everybody. It's like, man, if I just do this and this, everything's going to be fine. It's like, no, you have to be all in like the principles, not just some of them. And you can't just expect your life to be solved for you, especially by government or by church. Like, it doesn't matter. You have to be self-sufficient yourself. You James Cheshire, have to be self-sufficient. Church isn't going to come save you. You know, neither is the government. And so, like, you have to be the leader in your family and in your, even in your community. Once you've got your life in order, it's like, okay, branch out to your community, whether it's a ward or a congregation or, you know, whatever that next step might be. But a lot of people are like, so, man, why don't they do this for me or this for me? And I think it would help if you deregulated and you gave people more responsibility.
I do like that sentiment, especially about no one's gonna come save you. I think we had like the election a few months ago, and it's just so funny to me. I feel like no matter who wins the election, like none of them are gonna be like a savior and come down and make your life great. Yeah. Like no matter who wins the election, no matter who the president is, no matter all these things, like it's up to you to make something of your life. You know what I mean? Like a lot of times people expect like if all the political things went my way, and if all the these different things went my way, and if people acted like this or that and treated this different, like, no, like at the end of the day, like it's on you to make something of your life and do things. No one's gonna come down and say
yeah. And like you said, there's only one person who's in relentless pursuit of you, and that's God and His Son. And it's like, okay, cool, but still, you have to like go and do. Like,
yeah.
You can't just go and sit around and wish everything happens for you. And like you said, it's like, man, if only this and if only that. It's like, okay, I guarantee you, if those things, if onlys, your magical if onlys happen, you'd still be poor, and you'd still be miserable. And it's like, for me, like, and I'm still like bouncing through the economic ladder a little bit. Sometimes I make less, sometimes I make more. That's the name of the game of sales. But it's like, if I'm not willing to give when I'm poor, why wouldn't I give when I'm rich? And vice versa. Exactly. When I have a lot of money and I'm like, you know, and people say it's like money changes people. I'm like, no, it just shows who you've always been.
Yeah.
And so if you can't like instill in yourself this mindset of maybe not no one's gonna come save me, but like it really is up to me, and I have more power than I think. There's a lot more things I can do than I can't do. And if you look at it that way, it's like all of a sudden, man, life isn't as desperate as you think. And trust me, like I've been there, bro. Like when I went and did door-to-door sales, I went on my mission and came back, and the IRS dinged me for like $16,000. Like, because I just didn't even know. I was out of the country. No one.
Brutal. Okay.
And so like I came back and I'm owing a ton of debt, and it's like I could have stayed mad at the federal government, or I could have just worked and moved on. And it's like, does that suck? That what happened to me? Sure. Does it help to do any like what am I gonna do? Go against the IRS? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Great perspective. So what's something that people might not know about you that you wish they knew about you? Something that's not everybody knows about you.
Probably that I just beat you at FIFA a ton. Just joking.
Dude, everyone knows that. Everyone knows I suck at FIFA and I got wrecked.
No, actually, Chase is good. I'd get pissed sometimes with him. But we would slough school and go, and I just wanted to get that off my chest. I'd slough seminary.
Those are the best days. Ditching school to come to my house and play FIFA.
And watch Champions League. No, but it's a double-edged sword actually. So like for my lunchtime, I go teach seminary right now. They need a Spanish seminary teacher at ALA, funny enough.
Oh, fun.
So I'm the Spanish seminary teacher at ALA right now. And it's just funny because a lot of those kids I know, they want to be out there playing FIFA. so it's just funny because I'm like, dang, dude, I see myself in you, bro. Like, don't do it. but no.
Like me.
But in all seriousness, I think one of the things that I really, because I'm with a lot of people, is that at the end, you know, I really do believe in the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And it's been such a good thing for me. You know, a lot of people think that I've been just in it my whole life, and I haven't. Like, I really, like, I left for a while. I did my own thing. I became, like, atheist, you know, listening to Sam and Chris and all those guys, those atheist people, and it's like, then all of a sudden, you know, I just found that there was no joy. And so there's one thing, like, obviously I do business and I do all these things and I teach, but at the end of the day, if there's one thing that I wish people would know, is that if you take the principles that are in the scriptures and you apply them to your life, like, you will have a successful life. And successful not in the way that you're going to be rich or anything, but like that you will have fulfillment and joy.
That's another thing I was going to ask you is how do you define success?
For me, it's really is having a family, providing for them, and making it so that they might have a better life than I did. That's success for me. 'Cause who cares if I go and I make all the money in the world if I have no one to pass it on to or give it to, right? And so, like, I think it's funny. Recently, they had, like, the Mike Tyson Jake Paul fight.
Yeah.
And he's like, and then some, like, 12-year-old like TikTok girls like, Mike Tyson, what's your legacy? He's like, legacy, that's bullshit, right? And the little girl's like, oh, thank you, Mike. Like,
oh, yeah.
You know
She interviews him.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, bro, I think he forgot a 12-year-old was interviewing him. He was brutal to her.
Yeah. But it was just like, what the heck? But at the end of the day, it's like, kind of base take, Mike Tyson. Like, you come as dust and the dust you'll return. So it's like, it's not about, how much fruit your tree gives. It's how much your tree will eventually grow other trees, in my opinion. And so it's like, it's a difference between linear and exponential growth. It's like, it's one thing to have linear growth just for you, but it's another thing to have exponential. I think the only thing to do that is to instill the values of what success means to you and your children. And it's not like it's free, do whatever you want, right? A lot of people think it's like, and I used to be really like this, like libertarian in a way, like, man, like I used to think like, this might get me into hot water, but like I used to be like very for like legalization of weed. Now I don't agree. Like if society realizes that weed just slows down productivity, I think they have the full right to go and say, you know what, maybe you shouldn't be smoking weed as much. That's all I'm saying. And so it's like, for me, it's like, it's okay for a society to be able to go do that. And I think the place that it starts, before you go and you make legislation or you go and you go protest and everything, is with yourself. Then after yourself, it's with you and your partner. And after it's with you and your spouse, it's with you and your family. And then you can go and branch out. But if you, like, and this is like classic Jordan Peterson, but if you don't have your life in order, like your own personal life, you really have no business going out and being a life coach or anything.
Yeah, dude.
And I guess, no, I take it back about what I don't like about Utah. What I don't like about Utah is there's more life coaches than there is, like, I don't know. But it like makes me so angry. I'm like, dude, for example, this is crazy. I didn't even know this existed. They have like this sex life coach, and the chick's like divorced and has like 3 kids with like 2 different guys. And I'm like, listen, that's tragic to me. That's sad and it's hard. I can't even imagine. Like my heart goes out to her, but I'm not gonna take her advice. What the hell's wrong with you? And so, and that's just one. There's like a ton. There's a ton. And I'm like,
I've been saying that. Yes, dude. I see so many people like I know on social media. I'm like, you're my age. I want someone who's like older and wiser and like is doing, I guess, how I would define success, right?
Yeah.
Get advice from. I saw there's just one guy I follow. I'm not gonna say his name. He's ridiculous. He doesn't even know who I am. I just follow him. I get his emails. I just read them and I laugh. I show baby sometimes. Like, look what this guy says. And one thing he's like, if I wanted to like have a bad life, here's what I would do. Like these 5 things, but I don't want. So here are the 5 things I am doing. And then he posted a video. He's like, all right, guys, today is day 1 of trying to like make 25 grand over the next 30 days. Right now, I'm actually 75 grand in debt. And so here's the things I'm doing to make money. And I'm like, bro, this is such a weird, like it's cool to like track your journey to be accountable and stuff like that. But like, why are you posting like these advice? And why am I subscribed to your email list when you're like just not doing well in these things?
And
I'm
there's
like, I don't want to be like this guy.
There's a ton of people like that in here. And it's like,
it's the money, dude.
We but like at some point, it's like everyone's a coach, right? Everyone wants to do the thing. Everyone wants this. And that's one of the, like, I work right now with ePipe. It's a video marketing software. So we get a ton of coaches in there. Like I promise you, like, give me your software for free and I'll blow it up. Dude, you know how many times I've gotten that email or that text?
Influencers.
Yeah. Man, if you just let me, like, take over, like, it'll be awesome. I'm like, sure, here's your account. And then,
dude, I'll put you on. There's a cookie company on Instagram called like Havesy Cookie Co. or whatever. And it's so funny because he exposes, so he gets influencers always hitting him up like, hey, I'd love to like, I'm hosting a bachelorette party. We'd love to have your cookies and stuff. And like, he'll expose them like, oh, cool. Have you ordered here before? Yeah, my cousin said she really liked them, blah, blah, blah. I was like, okay, what's her name? Let me look up her order. Oh, I don't know. It was a long time ago. Like, whatever. He exposes influencers, and his business has been going up like crazy. All he does is get, like influence. It's way fun.
Well, and at the end of the day, it's like, what is the driving cause of this coaching crisis?
Yeah. There's that many people who are really looking for a coach that you're stepping up to fill in a great role, or are you just like, maybe a couple of chumps are gonna buy my course and give me some money?
Yeah, and everyone's trying to make courses and coach. I'm like, and that's why, listen, say what you want about capitalism. That's why I love capitalism, because at the end of the day, so like, I think that's what it says about our education and kind of how we're educating people, because there are chumps buying the courses, and that's what's sad. When in reality, it's like, listen, I'm not saying having a career coach or something's not a good thing. For some people it is. Some people need the training. But if you're having like coaching for sex, coaching for this, coaching for that, dude, go live your life, bro. And you live and you learn. Like you'll make mistakes, and I think a lot of it comes from fear. It's like, man, I just don't know if I get this job. Like, I don't know what I'm gonna do. It's like, no, dude, go and live your life, and if it doesn't work out, go back and try again. And I think a lot of it, the reason they get coaches is like they're just scared.
You know, another reason I think that's gonna like really mess up that whole coaching industry, whatever, is large language models, right? Like AI. Because if what this coach is telling you is somewhere on the internet, then ChatGPT knows it, right? If what this guy is saying, if that information is out there on the internet, then all of these LLMs know that, and you don't need to hire a coach. You can just ask this AI the question, and it will scan the entire internet and tell you what the answers are.
Well, I'm actually an AI coach. So.
Oh, really? Dude.
So, yeah, I'm like the expert on AI.
Can I get a discount on your course or anything?
Yeah, so the course is actually $5,000 per day. But in 2 days, I promise you'll make the $10,000 back. And they make these outrageous promises, and they're like, wow, really? And then you don't read the fine print.
So sad, because you know that because there's so many of these out there, there are people who are giving them their money. Yeah. There are people out there who are forking over their credit cards on these promises.
Yeah, and I say what you want about like AI. Like I think it's a huge, like super good tool. I love it. It's awesome. It helps you be more productive, but it also is taking away creativity, and I think that's something that's huge. And
dude, we gotta talk about this. Okay, I freaking like we had this like my machine learning class this semester. We had this crazy awesome discussion about like the future and about AI and like hey, say it's taking away from creativity, and also I think like choices. So like for example, if there was a machine that could vacuum the floor for you, would you think that's an issue? No, it's a Roomba. Everybody's cool with it. What if there is a machine that could make your breakfast for you just the way you like it? It's like, okay, cool.
Jimmy Dean's. Just joking. I'm just joking.
What if there was a machine that could actually just like scan your body and know exactly what's going to taste the best for you, but also make it insanely nutritious? Just give you like a blob full of nutrition and make it taste exactly like what you don't even know you want it, but it knows your taste buds better than you, right? It gets to the point slowly where you're not even making a choice, and it's like, I don't know, a no-brainer, like, oh yeah, I get this, I get that, I get this. And part of what I believe is that, you know, the purpose of life is getting to learn from our choices and that kind of thing, right? But
yeah, I think at the end of the day, that's where it becomes dangerous. It's like, is the AI making the choice for me, right? And I found myself sometimes, like now on the new iPhone, you have like the writing tools. And so you can like type out a text and then you'll highlight it and then it'll rewrite it for you. And I found myself like just doing it every time, rewriting. I'm like, hold on. It's not really me making that choice anymore. And so I think at the end of the day, it's like if the AI is taking over your choices and what you're doing, that's when it becomes super dangerous. The hardest thing I've seen is people like, you saw that one kid who's 14 years old? Who's like, he ended up like, you know, offing himself because his AI companion wasn't real.
Oh, I never heard about that.
And so it's like you start seeing all like, it's just sad because there is susceptible people who are looking for companionship, and I don't mean this. Like, trust me, I love to joke, I love memes, but you see this and it's like, dude, that's just tragic. That a kid would go and develop this relationship with some AI, and then because he can't have that in real life or can't hold that, you know, model, and you start thinking like, in the last like 4 days, I've seen tons of these ads for movies where there's like these AI nanny robots. I'm like, what? Like, what are they trying to say? And it really comes down to destroying creation, destroying agency, and then destroying your ability to choose. Like, you know, and so it's like you start analyzing that, and it's like, well, whose plan was that really?
That's a good point.
And so it's like, at what point, there's so many of these gray, blurry lines where I just think it's just so critical that for me, that we're trying to be in tune with the higher knowledge, with the spirit, right?
That's another thing is like, what makes you you? Like, we're in the dinosaur age of AI, and our little chat GPT is so cute or whatever. But like, dude, like 100 years from now, 200 years from now, like it's gonna be crazy sophisticated. The thing is, what makes you you? If a machine can I don't consciously choose what cells to make. I'm programmed. My DNA is programmed to make these cells when I need this and that. I don't make that choice. You could easily in the future, right? Like we're not talking about our current limitation. We're talking about like in the future, have some machine that is exactly me with my DNA programmed into it, making choices, my exact same brain chemistry, making me. And personally, I believe that there's more to me than that. I believe that I have, a spiritual component to myself, and that's what really makes me me. That's my identity.
I think that's what's hard. There's a lot of like transhumanists right now that's like, you are just a clump of cells when they reduce it to. And it's like, they say that about babies, but they say that about you too. It's like at the end of the day, if you were able to replicate those cells and make it the same way as you and have some neural processor that is able to do all that, that's you. But when you get down to it, there is a spiritual component. And I think that's one of the most beautiful things about specifically Latter-day Saint theology is the eternal nature of man. That we are co-eternal, that through God, he organized us, right? And so there's nothing that is like fully replicable of a human. You can't replicate a human. You can make a robot, you can make a sex bot, whatever, but you can't replicate James Cheshire. Yeah. And I think there's something that adds value to humanity about that.
Our identity.
And if that's lost, though, you'll see some of the greatest atrocities known to man because the value of life all of a sudden starts to be diminished. And so, like, you look at Doctrine and Covenants 18:10, right? What is great is the worth of souls. Not your body, not your decision making, not even your brain. It's the worth of your soul. And that's the spiritual component I think you're talking about. It is your body and the soul, right? It's the spirit and the body makes the soul.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I believe my identity is more than just like my body and what you see, right? Because in the future, I think there's no like that could easily be replicated. Like we can clone animals, like we can clone people too, but like I don't know. It's not me because what makes me and my identity is something more than that.
How do you measure that, you think? I think that's kind of where it lies for me is there's no such thing as this like relative truth. There is the truth, capital T's, right? But people are like, no, it's relative. It's like, no, you really
my truth and your truth.
Yeah, but it's
there's got to be some absolute truth.
Yeah, and so it's like in the same way, and I think this is another part where Latter-day Saint theology gets it right is that there is an eternal law in which God is the master of. He knows how to work within the bounds of that creation, of the law, the eternal law. And so, it's like the law of gravity and thermodynamics as we know it. It's like, who's to say that's not part of the eternal law? We can't find any instances where it's not. And so, if you are able to operate in that eternal law, now that becomes like a little more philosophical. But I think God, because he is the master of the eternal truth that exists, he's able to do these miracles and do these things and work wonders in your life if you do it according to agency, right? To your agency and his agency, and we respect the choices of others. And I think that's where it's just the issue runs for me is like, at the end of the day, when you look at the atheist argument, it's because that they don't believe in right or wrong, because there is no truth, and so there is no choices, and everything you do is biologically programmed. So if you let an AI go and take over your choices, it doesn't matter, because you're biologically programmed anyways to go and have sex and to go and have breakfast. And so it's just a tough thing where we are getting to the crossroads where I think great minds should start debating these things and saying, okay, how is this ethical or how is this moral?
What's tough is that there's no avoiding it, right? It's like, it's the same idea with like the atom bomb or whatever. It's like, oh, we probably shouldn't do this. It's going to kill a lot of people. It's like, well, either we build the atom bomb or our enemy builds the atom bomb, right? Yeah. We got to do it. With the AI, we can't stop progressing it because either we're the ones that get there and can try to make regulations or the bad guys do.
Yeah. Well, I just think it's how do you raise up a people that can use that type of technology in a good way?
Well, think about even cell phones, dude. Like, if you don't have a smartphone, you are at such a disadvantage in the world.
Yeah.
Everybody that has a smartphone can communicate with who they want, when they want. They got access to the internet. Like, it's a no-brainer.
And that's another huge thing. It's like, and another huge problem. People are addicted to their cell phone. Like, actually.
Yeah.
And you don't have it. You're like, oh, my cell phone. People freak that.
But not having a cell phone is also not an option. If you don't have a cell phone, you're at a huge disadvantage in the world. You have to have a cell phone. You got to be able to handle it.
Yeah.
In the future, with AI integration, stuff like that, it's like, dude, if you can have a Neuralink in your head and you can Google things on off the bat or whatever, like, if you don't have that, you're at a disadvantage.
Yeah.
What company is going to want to hire these people who don't even know how to work a cell phone right now, right? Well, people in the future doesn't want people who isn't integrated with AI, right? Like, at some point, like, it's unavoidable and you're going to be way too disadvantaged and it has to happen. But it's, can you do it and also make your own choices?
Yeah, and it's just tough. And technology is moving at such a fast rate. It's just, I think, what I still find so interesting is, you know, you look in, I think it's 2020, and President Nelson said, you will not be able to survive spiritually without the guiding voice of the Spirit. And it's like, okay, I get it. Like, calamities and wars and rumors of wars. But you look like at deep fakes with AI and stuff, and it's true. Like, if you don't have that little discerning, like, is that AI?
Bro, people can fall for the Nigerian prince scam. They're going to fall for a freaking deep fake video, of course.
And so it's like, that's just scary. It's a scary world we live in. And you just have to be so wary of everything that is being said. Like, and whether it's for your side or not for your side. Like, you just always have to double check, be careful, and at the end of the day, make your own choice. Don't be scared. Don't look for a life coach. Don't look for an AI coach. Go and look, like, and that's who we were. That's who we were meant to be. It's like, you look at how many generations came before you for you to be here at this moment, and like, I start thinking in those terms, and I get pumped up to wake up in the morning. Like, my ancestors did not die for me to go and have my breakfast chosen by some AI grok model. Like, no. I was meant to go and be something. Not be controlled, not be acted upon, but to be my own agent where I can go and do and make something of myself and to be transformed. And I think that's where it's hard, is if you're letting that make it so you can't change, so you can't make decisions.
Well, in closing, what impact do you want to leave on others before you die?
I think it comes back to that Mike Tyson. It's like, who cares what I do? I think at the end of the day, if I have done my job correctly, it won't be my legacy, but it will be the lives of my children, their children, that change the world. I'm sure they'll see it and they might, man, he did good here, or he did good there. He donated soup to that kitchen, or whatever it might be. But at the end of the day, it's, when I die, all people know is like, man, he tried and he made his own decisions, and he tried to make good ones. And most importantly, he tried to do it following the Lord. What more could I want, right? Right? They can say whatever they want about me, about politics, about my stupid jokes, about my sense of humor. But at the end of the day, if they can say he came and he made his own choices and wanted to be a trailblazer and do his thing, there's nothing that's more complimentary for me than that I really did try and do my own thing. And most importantly, that if someone can look at me and say, man, he did his best to reach his potential here on earth, both, you know, physically, spiritually, temporally, emotionally, intellectually, I think that's the best compliment I can get, that I really did try.
It's a great way to say it. I've heard it said, one of the big purposes of life is just closing the gap between where you're at right now and your potential, right? Is like just trying to close that gap, try to make as many right choices as you can. Well, Guts, glad to have you. Glad that you're a person in Utah. Thanks for coming on the pod.
Dude, I appreciate it, and hopefully we can come back together soon and maybe stream FIFA for everybody. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, man. We'll do it again soon. Thanks.
Ciao, ciao.